Today I'm going to show you how I made my pot holder using macrame rope. This is a super simple pattern. It's just using a very simple single crochet, or if you're in the UK, that is a double crochet. We finish it with a loop and there we go. It's a nice, simple, easy, practical thing to have. A great one to use any leftover macrame rope for. So this is a 4mm macrame rope. You can use a 3mm such as this, but to do that you will need to double up the rope to crochet with. You'll also need a 10mm hook, a large-eyed embroidery needle like this one here. The plastic ones are great for this because of that, and some scissors. And also, if you have one, a stitch marker if you're new to this and you struggle to see the stitches. That will just enable you to see each end of the row. So to begin with, we'll do a slip knot. So cross as if, under, and now bring that loop through and pull that tight. We're going to put that loop onto our hook and pull tight. Not too tight, otherwise it's harder to crochet with. Now we're going to take that tail and just move it out the way, hold it with your hook. I find that the easiest. Now taking your tail, we wrap around the hook using our 2 fingers here, pull, and we're going to pull that loop through. That's 1. We go around again. So we're chaining right now. So that's 2. And we're going to do this for 11 stitches. 1, 2, 3. It can be a little bit tricky, like to want to hold everything so tight, but as you can see, if you hold it too tight, it's harder to pull the hook through. So that is now 11 stitches. It's 11 chains ready to go to stitch into. So you can put your markers in, so at least you know where you are. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Now we're going to skip that 11th stitch and we're actually going to go into the second one in. When I first started crocheting, I actually struggled. I was like, do you go through 2 loops or just the 1? I've learned it's easier just to go in through that single cord there. So you go in and pull through and pull through the 2. So we've skipped 1 and we've gone in. So let me show you again. So for this one, we put our hook through, then we're wanting to wrap our cord around the hook, and we're going to pull that cord using the hook through the hole. Then we wrap again, and then we're going to pull it through this stitch and this stitch. So use the hook. Again, don't hold everything so tight because you'll end up, it becomes too difficult, especially if you're learning. If it's loose at the end, you know what, it's a learning curve. You'll find your groove, you'll find the right tension. Don't focus on that too much when you're beginning. Biggest thing is just to get the technique down. Learn to loosen up, because when you're new, you tend to hold it really tight. And we're just going to go all the way to the end. And really, this is all we're going to be doing, is just going back and forward until we have a square. But there is one last step before I will see you at the end. And that is, once you've got to the end, now this is, as you go, you'll find that sometimes it can be easy to miss that last stitch. That's why a stitch marker is really nice to have on the ends, because they tend to, you can see this one here, it falls off the edge. And that is a stitch. So go ahead and add a stitch marker to there, and then we'll add one at this end as well. So we're at the end of this row. Sorry, I unraveled this from something else. It's all twisty. I'm going to chain. So again, just like we did before, round and through the loop and turn. This is what will enable us to have a square. So don't go into that one. We're going to go into that first stitch. Now you can see the V's. So that's our chain, but this is the first stitch. That's why your stitch marker is kind of nice, so you don't get confused if you're beginning. Now we're going to go in through both of those. So both loops. And we go through like what we have done before with our single crochet. So we go in, round, and out. And we'll keep going across the row and repeat across, chain one, turn, and we'll keep going, and I'll see you at the end. So I'm just coming to the end of my 12th row, so the final row. That's 12 rows. Get into the last one. What's really nice with crochet is that you always have a finished edge, unlike knitting where you have to bind off. This is a really nice feature of crochet. So I'm going to cut off with a bit of a tail. Now normally you would just pull this through and pull tight, but I want a little bit of a loop. So I'm actually going to pull this through, but I'm going to tighten it to a point where I'm like, okay, this is the loop that I want. So I think that looks good. So I haven't pulled this tight. I'm going to take this and pull it through the back and pull that tight. I'm always the one that tends to be like, let's knot it twice. So I'm just going to go through that loop again and pull it through. So let me just undo this so you can see. So I've got my loop. I took this and I went in, and then I've gone through like you would for a knot, and I'll just pull that tight. Cinch that all tight, and once you weave this end in, that will be fine. So there we go, just like that. Single crochet. Now I will take my needle and I'm going to weave these ends in. Now I know there's probably a proper way to weave in ends for crochet, just like there is for knitting, but again, crochet seems to be pretty forgiving with this as well. So you can see why you need a large-eyed needle for this, because this is thicker rope, so it's not as easy to get through other needles. So I am just gonna pull this through. It does get a little bit stiff, but again, like I said, this is a robust material. It can hold its own, thank goodness. Which, for the job that it's going to do, being a pot holder in my kitchen, it needs to be tough. So I am not a gentle person. So there we go, that's one. And yes, if you do know the right way, don't judge me to weave in these ends. This is just how I find a loop and go back and forward in that loop. Just a couple of times, pull that out. See? Can't really see that. I'm just gonna cut that in, and there we have it. A very simple pot holder made from macrame rope. I hope you enjoy the pattern. You can find the pattern over at gemmaandcompany.com under my crochet.